There's many ways to explore yourself as true nature. And one of the more popular ways is Advaita Vedanta. And I do think that's a very beautiful approach. And I also explore that as well. And Advaita Vedanta is the inward path to find emptiness of self. So it begins with the neti process. I am not this. I am not that. I am not my feelings. I'm not my emotions. And this is a great way to find out who you are, right? Reject, find that, remove everything that you know you're not. So anything that you can see or observe, you can't be that. So you cannot be your emotions because you can see it. You cannot be your feelings because you can see it. And this process creates a liberation of self. And there ends up being no sufferer. If there's no sufferer, how can there be suffering? Yet gone.
So anything that I can see, I will not be that. I mean, I'm not that. Anything I can so does that also apply to, say, energy? Because
Yeah.
um
One of the ways they used, imagine a torch that's illuminating light on a string spinning around in a room. Everything it can see cannot be it, because the self cannot see the self, because it's the the source of illumination.
mm,
So even if you see energy, that's not who you are.
mm,
Because if you was energy, if your true nature was energy, what knows that? And is the perceiving presence energy, or is it just perception?
mm.
If you think of a time when you say energy, do you mean, describe energy first?
Energy um energy is um is vibrating. Energy can transcend.
Okay, so you can feel the energy now.
Yes.
Is it moving?
um if I feel my own energy, yes, it is moving.
So is the knower of that moving? Is the perceiver of the energy moving?
I I won't know. I don't know. Because I won't sense the perceiver anyway.
Okay, so if you can't sense the perceiver, is that the same as a torch not seeing its own light?
Right. Right.
Right. So the practice is to ask yourself, what knows this, and is that itself the thing? So, for instance, let's say you feel hot. Let's pretend, and then you feel hot. Well, I can just ask you: is there and we can all do this? It's really quite fun. If you can put your hand on something hard. If not, you can do something soft. It's up to you, but it's best if we all do the same thing. So soft is probably easier because we're all on chairs. So put your hand on something soft, and then feel into that softness, and get a sense of how soft it is. And then ask yourself, is the knowing of softness also soft? So there's the sensation of soft, and there's the perception of soft. But is the perception itself soft?
Perception is just perception, so it
Exactly.
can't be soft.
Exactly. Exactly. So the perception is never changing, and that's who you are. The other one will be soft, hard, hot, cold. But if you look at the descriptions, you see the descriptions. If you look at perception, there's no descriptions. And that's why I say, if you want to know yourself as awareness, just stop describing things. Just drive through the place where there's the biggest traffic jam that you normally get annoyed, and don't describe anything. Don't describe the cars, the place you have to be, the person driving, the steer, just the completely non-description, and also allow everything to be as it is. Those two things together will reveal your nature, which is always doing that. You're not doing any tricks here. You are already, as pure presence, not describing and allowing everything to be as it is. The self, the separate self, is describing everything and resisting or chasing after everything. So it's very active. It wants this, it doesn't want that, and it wants that because it's described it, and it doesn't want that because it's described it. All of these things are normal functions of a human mind, because the human brain, let's call it, it's designed to help us not die from doing stupid stuff. That's what it's designed to do. So we have to describe a hot plate to not, and then not want to touch it. We have to see a nice glass of water, so we want to go and drink it. And all of these are completely healthy activities that we were taught by our caregivers. And they did a very good job. All caregivers did a very good job. They told me what my name is. They told me I should go and get stuff and not and avoid other stuff. And that they taught me how to be a separate self. But unfortunately, in our society, the education ends at the peak of selfness. And then we are just left to our own devices to run that into the ground. We run it into the ground. So these wisdom teachings are like, okay, I'm glad you're not a baby anymore. I'm glad that you have a name called May. I'm glad that you have thoughts and feelings. Okay, now let's envelop all of that in your true nature, so you are whole. You are whole, one being. You are the absolute. You are awareness, being, conscious bliss, Satchit Ananda, and you are May, and they are all one. And when you have this, rather than the character May being informed by May's causes and conditions, I don't like this, I do like that, like all of that, which is fine. But now May starts to get informed by the absolute. And what that does is that allows the separate self called May to flourish in alignment with the absolute, the same way nature does, the same way plants flourish, because they're not being in. If a flower was informed by a childhood, it would grow up like it would have a difficult time. It would be judging itself. It would be self-critical. All these other things. It's a bit of an unusual analogy, but it came to me. Um, so the absolute, pure absoluteness, when we align with the wisdom teachings, we allow things to be as they are, we reduce our descriptions, then the character starts to become informed by the separate self, informed by the absolute, and it gently, without needing it to, it gently adjusts and aligns your behavior with one simple thing: what is most beneficial for all. And that's the world that I feel that we are hopefully will cultivate at one point, where we all act infused by the absolute for what is most beneficial for all, rather than the